Okay, welcome to podcast for Chapter 2 quiz and our 3 investigations that we're going to cover here. Toolkit, M&M Madness, and then Pop Soda or Cola. Remember to have your study guide handy here, and you can use these titles for the boxes that are on each of the areas of your study guide. So we're going to start first with Toolkit. What number is the metric system based on? And that's going to be the number 10. So when you're moving from one measurement to the other, whether you're moving up or down through the system, you're going to move it by 10. So move that decimal place, adding zeros or moving the decimal place to the left. What are the SI units for length, mass, and temperature? So as you look through your study guide, length is meters. We abbreviate that with an M. Mass is kilograms, which is actually kg, and of course we use grams quite a bit in the classroom because we're not using objects that have enough mass. And then finally, temperature is actually Kelvin. We use Celsius also, that's an accepted one. In the classroom, obviously, we use that quite a bit. What should you do if someone gets hurt in class? We reviewed this again the other day, as we've got to be careful in the classroom. You must tell the teacher, the adult in the room, if there's an accident of any sort, no matter how minor, you have to make sure we know. What formula do you use to find the volume of a regular rectangular object? And that's going to be length times width times height. So a regular object, we use length times width times height. Okay, staying in toolkit, make sure you study the measurement toolkit. You don't need to memorize it, but make sure you know when and how to use all the tools. So if we're finding mass, what are you going to use? If we're finding volume, irregular volume, what tool are you going to use? If we're finding length, what are you going to use? One of the things also to check is our tool wall. So if we're going to find temperature, what are we going to use? If I need to time something, what tool am I going to use? So make sure you check on those. M&M Madness. Slide over to the next box. What direction does the horizontal axis run? And horizon is the word in here. So as you take a look at that, that's going to be left to right. Estimate. An approximation of a number based on reasonable assumptions. Vocab word there. Use only if you cannot find an exact number. In science, if we can find the exact number, we want to do that. Staying in M&M Madness. Let's talk about how to find the mean, the average, the median, and mode. That's the number that shows up the most. So I have examples here. Median's the middle number in a set of data. First thing you need to do is list all the numbers in order from least to greatest. So you would want to take this list. You can go ahead and pause here. Do this as we're going. So now I have them from least to greatest. And I want to find that middle number, the middle number in a set of data. If the list has even entries, so there isn't an odd amount of numbers, there's not going to be something in the middle. So you're going to find the two middle numbers and divide them. So again, I'm going to put them in order from least to greatest. 21 and 23 are in the middle. 21 plus 23 is 44. I divide that by 2, so my median is 22. If you need to see that again, just rewind the video. Pop soda or cola. What formula do you use to find density? It's going to be mass divided by volume. We use a balance for mass. That's the amount of matter in an object. Weight, we use a spring scale for that, and that's the measure of the force of gravity acting on an object. Volume, going to use a graduated cylinder. That's the amount of space an object or substance takes up. What parts do well-written procedures always include? And these are things we look for when we grade our procedures in the notebook. So you should have a handle on these. Got to have a numbered list, 1 period, 2 period, 3 period, etc. Need to have great details. If you tell them to measure the mass, you need to tell them what tool. Begin with command words, first, second, next, last, etc. Okay, for some practice, textbook page 79, numbers 1, 4, and 8. These are not mandatory, but if you want practice on these concepts, don't use your study guide, answer them you can have Mr. Cora and I check them. Page 80, number 20, and then page 81, numbers 1 and 2. Okay, podcast has ended. Once again, feel free to watch it again, pause it, rewind it, and best of luck on the quiz.